the emotional component
There you
of
go.
trying to get fit is so important.
Yes, and that's why I tell people to probably stay off the scale, because when a human being, and I'm not just talking about fat loss, but when a human being loses faith in anything, then it sort of prompts us to grasp at anything that might deliver which we most seek. And so then we become prey to the gimmicks and and so that's the problem with that. If you lose faith in something that's real, it's like, for instance, when I used to work with athletes. When you're working with a young man, a young lady, strength precedes muscle. In other words, just because your strength's going up, there is a lag between your strength increasing and the amount of muscle that you're accruing.
Okay.
Things don't happen one-on-one. And so you can be gaining weight, be it water weight or whatever, and still be burning body fat. Your body doesn't just do one thing, it does multiple things. There's 6,000 enzyme reactions going on in your body at any one moment. And so just because the scale's not moving does not mean that you're not burning body fat. You can do both. Plus you can gain muscle and lose body fat. You can sleep and lose body fat.
Right.
So it's something that it's a process. And so what I like to tell people is the best things humans can do is create the environment necessary for fat loss and health to accrue. But they cannot do anything about the rate or the magnitude. That's genetic.
From our conversation last week, I know that this is a bit of a rabbit hole to go down. I know it's a huge subject to discuss, but can you kind of talk about your approach to diet? I know you said that there's a lot of myth busting to be done with what's conventionally thought to be the way to lose weight and to fix your diet.
I base mine on, just quickly, once you take out of the equation, there's no such thing as a fat fairy. In other words, there's no such thing as magic and mysticism. No fairy visits you at night, deposits fat. So once you get rid of magic and mysticism, the only thing that remains then is truth, logic, and science. And so what I did is I set out on a search many, many years ago to find out physiologically, how does our body burn and store body fat? And so basically, the simplest thing in the world is this. Fat loss and fat storage in human beings, actually in all animals, but in human beings is governed by the first law of thermodynamics and physics. It's about energy. That's it. It's an energy balance equation. So what my program does is basically place people into an energy balance equation where what they're eating, the amount of food measured in calories, that's what your body sees, is equal to what their lean body mass, the part of them that's alive, needs. So you got to take care of that, because that's the part of you that's a miracle. That's your brain, your organs, your muscles. You got to feed that.
Right.
But what it doesn't feed is your weight, the other part of you that's not lean body mass, which is your body fat. So then your body, because of the way it was created, is regulated then to burn body fat to support any level of activity you do, from sleeping to exercise and everything in between. So what you're doing on this program is you're feeding the part of you that's alive, which is your lean body mass. That's what I get from the body fat calculations. I need to know what part of you that's alive. The part that you don't want to feed is the dead part, your body fat. Body fat is what physiologists, what we call a dormant tissue. It doesn't require calories to exist. Let's not feed that. But see, that's one of the slippery slopes we get into, because if you go on the internet, how many calories does Christopher need? The first thing they're going to ask you is maybe your height and your weight. Now take a step back. If they ask for your weight, you're in trouble, because your weight always includes two things. It includes your lean body mass plus your fat. Do you want to feed your fat?
Absolutely
Then
not.
I call that the fallacy of the formulas. Any formula that starts with your height or your weight, you're dead. You're never going to succeed. What I start with, and what I saw in the literature, is I said, well, let's throw out the fat. Who the hell wants to feed that? It's dead. Let's start with the part of you that's alive, which is your lean body mass. That's like when I weigh you today, I don't care about your weight, but I'm using it as a reference point, because I'm going to take your weight and I can break it down into your lean body mass and your body fat to determine how many calories you need for your lean body mass, not your weight, because your lean body mass has to be fed. If you don't feed your lean body mass, it's called starvation, you're dead anyway.
What's the best way to feed it? I mean, is that...
Calories. It doesn't matter what you eat.
Okay, see, and then that's what we were discussing last week.
That's
Doesn't
what we
matter
were
if it's
discussing.
sugars, carbs.
Does not matter, no. Well, there's no difference. See, glucose, which is sugar in your body, let me show you something.
Okay.
Here it is. Here's what your body sees. So you go and you talk to somebody who's a nutritionist, and they'll say, well, you have broccoli, this is, complex carbohydrate. It is. And it has a lot of good things in it, And then you have a candy bar. Let's say they're both 260 calories. You can make a point for broccoli being better, but not in the sense of fat loss and fat storage, in the sense of that it's what we call nutrient dense. It has more nutrients maybe than a candy bar. But watch what your body, both of them are nothing but carbohydrates, right? Here's what your body sees. C6, H12O6. That's the chemical symbol for carbohydrates. Do you think your cell sees any difference between a glucose molecule from a candy bar versus broccoli?
I guess not.
How could it?
Yeah.
Do you understand
It's the same chemical composition.
That's it. That's all it sees. It doesn't see your morality. It doesn't see the fact that you're placing a good judgment on something versus a bad. So it's like if you look at it in terms of exercise. If I gave you a 5-pound dumbbell in your left hand and a 5-pound rock in your right and ask you to curl, is there any difference?
Absolutely
Because
not.
what does the body see?
It sees the
5
mass.
pounds. That's what your body sees in terms of carbs.
Okay.
It doesn't see anything else. Amino acids is all it sees from proteins. So if it comes, we don't, in the West, we don't eat dogs and horses. But guess what they do in the East? But see, your body doesn't, if you ate a dog meat right now, your body doesn't care what you eat. It's going to take the meat, the protein source, break it down into the amino acids that it can extract from there.
So we really are caught up in the morality
Yes.
of the issue.
Yeah, see, science, there's two words, amoral and immoral. Immoral, human beings can be immoral. We can make a choice to do bad things or good things. Science, on the other hand, is amoral. Science does not, without, absence morality. It doesn't, gravity, you can have a priest and a mass murderer on a 10-story building, both step off, what happens to you, both of them?
I'm going to guess that
they're both going to fall. You see, because gravity doesn't care. Well, see, what I did that was unique. All I ever did, as I said, let's get rid of magic and mysticism, morality. Let's look at what science has to say, the physiology of fat loss. What does it say? This is what it says. I am not saying that you should choose broccoli or I can't see. I have never, in all the classes and all the years that I've taught, I have never told one person what to eat. I leave that to you. So if you're a vegetarian, I support you. If you want to follow the food pyramid, I support you. What I'm trying to show you is the one thing they don't teach you, is how to eat. How to eat so that you're in a fat-burning, healthy state, physiologically. I don't sell pills or supplements. This is how your body works. That was the one thing that was missing. That's the class that I teach. So.
I have to believe that this isn't a brand new concept, is it?
Brand new concept.
It is.
In this sense. In this sense.
Because it seems like so often in society, whether it be health or whatever the scenario is, we had it figured out once upon a time,
right?
And we got away from it.
Yes.
So I'm wondering. I mean, this obviously isn't created out of nothing. This concept has been in place.
Okay, go back to Newton. Newton discovered gravity, 1687. Got it? Was that a new concept?
Absolutely not.
But he was the first one to quantify it. That's what I did. All I did, like Newton wasn't the first to see an apple fall from a tree. He was, however, the first to understand the implications of it. I spent 20 years of my life combing through the research articles on fat loss, on insulin, and all these things. All I did, and it was a gift given to me because I don't have the smarts for it, but all I did was connect the dots. That's all I did. And so you're exactly right. The literature on all of this is out there, but it's in disparate places. And so all I did was connect the dots. And let me show you. I'm 50. Here's me at 30 when I was down at the University of Illinois in graduate school in economics.
All right.
And I was heavy. I was born a heavy child. So I never knew a time in my life for 30 years when I was lean. And so I became lean when I finally put all these concepts together. And see, I'm fit now. And that's the other thing that I tell people is that what I teach is not a gimmick. See, I'm lean today at 50, not because I did the program for 6 months back when I was 30. It's because I continually do it. And it doesn't ask me to spend money on pills or supplements or anything like that. It just says, if you want to be lean and healthy, here is a way to eat in accordance with the way you were created, with your own physiology, that will keep you that way. It's not a moral judgment. It says, here's your choice.
Right.
But you will choose, or it will be made for you. Human beings cannot be static. We cannot physiologically be static, standing still in time. And so, yeah. So
how isolated are we with this concept? Is it catching on? Do you see it practiced anywhere else?
I wrote it.
Yeah.
So no, I mean I've been down to Florida teaching. I've been up in Iowa. I've been all over. I've had people fly from Alaska, I've had people fly from California and New York to take the class. So they've come from all over, and I've been very blessed that the hospital let me teach this. Let me teach that. I have over 40 doctors that refer patients to the program because it also heals us. So not only does it take the fat off, but it also heals us as well. So I've been very blessed in that sense.
I bet the ID, kind of the proof is in the pudding.
That's the whole thing.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, no, and that's why when I teach the class, I teach this stuff, right? But it's worthless. I actually put the program together too, so that when you leave the classes or the seminars that I teach, you can say, God, he was boring, but look what I got. In other words, you can start right away. And the reason why I do that is I didn't write a book. I chose not to. I said, well, if I'm going to share this information with other people, you have to remember I showed you that picture because I was one of these people that I tried. I don't know how old you guys are, but I was 50 years old.
Yeah.
And so I tried the pills. I tried the diets, the supplements, the exercise. Reached a very, very bad point in my life. Almost given up on everything, not fat loss, but life itself. And I received what I believe would be a miracle. I received an idea that, Bryan, maybe you didn't fail the diets. Maybe they failed you. What that single idea did was gave me hope. Now, it took me years to put the program together. But I believe that was a lifeline. It was my lifeline back to humanity, back to a second chance at life. And so when I teach, whether it's in a class at the hospital here at CGH, or when I teach a seminar down in Florida, it's about 4 hours. But see, you leave there not only with this knowledge, yeah, that's cool, but I also measure you. I also put the program together on site so that when you leave there, you've got everything done and completed. But it's what I'm obligated to do because I believe I received a gift. And so this is how I pay that gift back. Is not only do I teach you the knowledge, hey, the knowledge is great, but knowledge without the practical application put me in a damn university, useless university,
Yeah.
I'll smoke a pipe and dress in gray suits. That doesn't do anybody any good.
Right.
What happens is the salt of the earth are the everyday average people, and that's why I teach it the way I do. So.
How often do you teach it at the hospital?
Less and less. I used to teach to overflowing classes and seminars, but what happened was I don't advertise.
Right.
Because I was a victim of advertising. And I'm thinking maybe that might have been the wrong thing. I get people,
I appreciate your principles, though.
Yeah. Well, one of my heroes, his name was, him and his wife, Will and Ariel Durant, they wrote The History of Civilization. Imagine undertaking that. I think we'll write the history of civilization.
Yeah.
But he was a Pulitzer Prize winner. He received the Medal of Freedom from Ronald Reagan. But anyway, he wrote these words that in my darker days I read and never forgot. He wrote, "Speak the truth, and time will be your eloquence." And I thought, this program saved my life. I've seen what it can do for other people. And I thought, that's the way I'm going to go.